I said, what am I doing?
I call to order this meeting of the Warren County School Board for Wednesday, September 18th. The first item on the agenda is to accept and modify the agenda. Is there a motion?
Madam Chairman, I move we accept the agenda as presented.
Second. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I have a question I'll make a motion, but I have a question first for Rob. There's a money market account, Rob, and it doesn't show being interest bearing, and I can pull it up here and tell you exactly what I'm talking about.
It says it's our healthcare fund. It's a
Right.
fund that we collect the premium
Right.
from our employees and from the employer each month, put them in there,
Right.
and then write a check to Anthem out at the end of the month. The easiest way to explain this, it used to be a money market. Probably money market isn't the correct word.
Okay.
The county treasurer is the custodian of all of our accounts, this one included. So what happens is they have a whole group of accounts at this particular bank. It's Atlantic Union Market Bank, or Union Bank up in the shopping center. And the county receives interest, but then there are charges that go against the different accounts, and the interest offsets the charges plus gives the county some money. We no longer see the benefit of that money on that particular account, but the county, I guess, does, which in the long run can benefit us because that's where all of our money comes from.
Understood, but you don't like it.
Yeah, it's.
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a time where, of course, interest was very good, and we used to
Yeah,
get
I mean,
some good interest
interest
on it. Then there got to the point where the interest got so small that the service charges outweighed the interest in a typical month on a number of the accounts. So what the county's done is they've rolled them all into one basket, so to speak, as far as service charges that they've negotiated and paid, and then the interest that they get.
So our insurance and the county's insurance is both for the healthcare through the VRCC, I guess.
Our health insurance,
Yeah.
is through what's called the local choice, but it's administered. Anthem administers it for them, so we actually write a check each month to Anthem for this money. If there are any COBRA accounts, employees that have left but keep their insurance,
Right.
that money goes, they pay their premium, goes in there. We used to receive the money from our retirees who were on the account, but local choice now bills them directly, so we don't have to handle that money. So it basically is an in and out fund where the proceeds come in at the end of the month, and as soon as they do, we write a check. Now you'll notice if you look, there's about $100,000 balance in it. That is the residual from when we were self-insured, and when we went to local choice, we had a fixed amount that we paid premium each month, and at the end of the year we didn't have to square up with the insurance company either receiving money back because they paid out less in claims than we had collected, or they paid out more in claims and we had to write them a check. So it ended up with a little over $100,000 in it.
Yeah. I see it's about 127.
Yeah.
And that's what got my attention, that
Yeah.
there was nothing.
There's no interest
coming back to us
on
in the
that.
school system.
That said, the cafeteria fund is at another bank. The treasurer has that at another bank, and we do each month receive a relatively small, but an amount of interest. It may add up to $3,000 or $4,000 a year into the cafeteria fund, which goes to the benefit of the cafeteria fund. But all the other accounts at this point we, the school board, you are not receiving the benefit of any interest, nor are we being charged any banking expenses that might be associated with the number of checks we write, the balances that the treasurer keeps in them and all.
But we don't have any control over that. I mean, I know in business you can get it to where you don't pay little or no fees
Right.
simply because of the amount of money you roll through a bank.
Right, if you keep a certain average daily balance, doesn't go below a certain amount or whatever. But the county treasurer is the one that negotiates that and makes that determination on where the county basically does their banking.
I appreciate your candor there, Rob. I mean, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written, but I will also say that I think you need to look at it and
Investigate that.
try to figure out what's viable for us and the county.
So a further explanation of how that agreement has worked
Yeah.
and what benefits and
Yeah, I mean,
not benefits are of doing it that way.
how's it good for both entities, even though we're one, but everybody will.
And I don't know the answer, if we have control over that or not, or because they're the custodian of the accounts, that's their role.
We don't have, I don't think we, the school board has control over that directly, but certainly I know the treasurer works to the benefit of the county, to whatever benefits the county. And that ultimately would benefit us as a school board. I'll talk to her to get a little better feel for exactly where it's at now.
I'd appreciate that. Rob.
It had gotten so when interest rates got down to
Oh, yeah,
where
it was
they
painful.
weren't,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
were
penny low.
actually getting billed some charges. She was reversing, getting them reversed and all, but it got to that point, so I'll check to see where they're at now.
Well, I really appreciate that, Rob.
Okay.
It's good detail.
Did you already?
Yeah, I move we accept the consent agenda as written.
All those in favor, aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Action agenda, approval of Warren County High School copier lease. Mr. Grant.
Good evening. So the current lease on the copier at Warren County is expiring in October, and they've reviewed that the replacement options. Currently, there are 9 copiers at Warren County High School, and it's recommended that we use DSI. The reason we're looking at DSI is we're trying to get all of the copiers onto the same contract. Once we can do that, we have better buying power, and then we can put it out for bid that way. But we're just trying to get all of our ducks in a row. We're close. I believe we have one holdout. Yeah, AS Roads. Right now, so everybody else is on the same. That being said, even without being on a larger contract or with a more buying power, we are below what Fairfax County is paying in their cooperative purchasing agreement. So I'll put that in there. So we're looking at 36 lease payments at $2,890 per month. The total contract over the 3 years is $104,040, and that's $34,680 per year, and that will that comes out of the operating budget of Warren County High School. It's basically the same, like the prices did not go up. I have both contracts from 3 years ago and today, so it's basically the same deal, which is pretty good because usually those go up. So, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how we can do it without it. I really don't.
When do you think you'll get AS Roads on board?
Yeah.
Think that'll happen?
I believe so. Yeah, she's still got a little while to go on her.
We have to wait till
so-
that lease runs out.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what we have to do.
And then we have to get everything on, or get on to the same time schedule, so we may need to run a few longer the next time around so that we can all get them all in the same place. But if we can get them all into the same, then we have a better shot at getting them all together, so.
Motion.
Madam Chair, I move that a contract in the amount of $104,040 be awarded to Document Solutions Incorporated, DSI, for the lease of copiers at Warren County High School, and that the superintendent be authorized to sign this lease agreement.
Second. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Work session. Why you don't classroom options for AS Road Elementary School? What is that?
Pass a handout for you here. With regard to the renovations for AS roads, hope there's enough, let me know. Not only I modified this slightly from this morning, hopefully it's a little easier to read. First, in case you hadn't heard, the bid due date for the renovations at roads was extended 1 week until next Thursday. I think most bidders were appreciative of that because initially it was pre-bid meeting last week and bids were due tomorrow. So we did provide them a 1 week extension. Along with that, I believe we had 3 firms attend the pre-bid meeting. And since that time, I've given more tours of AS roads. I think I can walk it blindfolded now, even with my key in the dark. And I've got more scheduled for this week. I think 5 or 6 firms have downloaded the plans and specifications. So it appears we've generated a little more interest at this time with this rebid. So, but along with that, as we've discussed previously, we talked about the modular classrooms needed to create that swing space or empty space to provide the contractor more space to work within the school. And just wanted to give you a quick snapshot of the cost associated with these modulars. First of all, this company is, they have a cooperative agreement out there. Most divisions in District 4, this is a company they use, Mobile Modulars out of Charlotte, North Carolina. We are looking at 4 modular classrooms on the asphalt pad beside the multi-purpose building or the gym, and hopefully no less than 4, maybe 5 classrooms in the gym as temporary space. And again, that'll free up, I think, about 75% of the building for the general contractor to be able to do his work throughout the school year. So you can see in their proposal, his fees include 1 delivery at $46,000 and some change. They also charge for removal. When we're finished with them, they charge to come pick them back up. The electrical for the modular classrooms is not provided. The owner provides that. And for right now, I've given you a rough order of magnitude of cost, what it's going to cost us to pull power to those classrooms. I put in $15,000. It was our hope we could just tap into the power, the capacity at the multi-purpose room. The 400 amp service there is at full capacity, so we are going to have to pull new service in for the classrooms, so it's not included. I've reached out to 4 vendors to get proposals from them to provide that electrical service. 2 have already visited the site. I should have their proposals before the October meeting, so we'll bring that back to you at that time also. I have talked to Tim. Of course, we've got other services to put into the classroom, what I call low voltage, fire alarm, intercom, his voice and data, so we're gathering those costs. And the one big one down here, poured footers. The contractor proposes to use ABS pads as footers on the existing asphalt. If the county will not allow that, we're going to have to go to poured footers down to meet IBC building code of 30 inches, and there's 54 of those footers for the 4 classrooms at $325 each. So you can see that's a pretty significant cost if we have to go with poured footers for the classrooms. In addition to that, if we do the poured footers, then we're going to have some asphalt restoration to do. We go poking 54 holes into that basketball court, I'll call it. Chances are we're going to have to resurface it. I'd hate to do that, but we'll have that discussion with the county when he applies for the permit.
Find out before then?
I can certainly try and see if we get that answer. It'd be nice. Yeah, I'd like to know personally. So yes, I can reach out to the county and see if they'll go ahead and give us that answer. And what that's going to come down to, I guess, is basically the county's definition of a temporary building versus a permanent building. Frederick County, I can tell you just recently, it's been a while back, they had to use poured footers. The county considered anything in place more than 6 months to be a permanent building. therefore they wanted the port footage. So that's a conversation that we'll have to have with the county to see. So, and then along with the construction cost, we've also got the monthly rent or the lease cost. At a minimum, the minimum lease term would be a year, and actually if we went a year versus 18 months, the rent is a tad bit higher, $8 a month higher. So you can see the monthly cost there and the total annual cost. Right now, the schedule calls for substantial completion. Now, this is 2 phases in June of 2020. So, you know, my hope is we'd be out of there in June and the modulars come out in August, so we wouldn't need the 18-month.
How long does it take to get them set up and ready?
From date of notice to proceed, he's got 4 to 6 weeks, and then we probably have, I'll say, 2 weeks, just roughing it right now. So, on the time frame, it could be between Thanksgiving and Christmas before these were actually in place.
And then what's involved in getting them totally set up and ready for the students?
I'd say another 2 weeks behind that, you know, as far as moving the furniture and fixtures in, it shouldn't be too much. The units actually come, I'll say, pre-wired, so all we're doing is pulling power to the classrooms, because all your receptacles are wired, your lighting's already in, so we're just wiring to the panels. So that part is not too difficult, and the contractor will have all that, our contractor will have all that sitting in place while the modulars are, you know, being prepped to be brought up here and then set into place.
And we don't need to purchase anything else. I mean, we have everything we need, the desks and
Yeah,
all the equipment
yeah.
is.
Use their existing furniture that they have, yeah. Yeah,
Get it out, so.
yeah. Yeah, the building has to be
Instead of
empty.
putting it in storage somewhere.
Yeah.
Put it in a multi-purpose building, taking up space.
Yeah. Well, again,
Shifting across.
multi-purpose work with some temporary classrooms also. But the first phase is scheduled to be completed substantially by the end of March. So the gym could be back in use as a gym, I'll say in April. And then we have 4 or 5 classrooms left to
And
do
how many
phase
students
2.
can go in each of these modular buildings?
Up to 25. Yeah.
All of our classes are 25 or less out
Yes.
there, aren't they?
Yes, roads, yes, they are.
I didn't
I
know.
thought they were, yeah. I mean, that's why I said out there.
And this also includes the necessary decking and ramps for this. We don't have to provide any of that. You know, because I think in the past we may have built some decking and ramps on modulars
We
here.
did.
So, just wanted to give you that update on the cost, and let you know what you can expect as we move forward with this one.
And if you have any questions, we would, be able to answer them before we asked you to approve it in October.
I'd like to find out if the county requires them.
I will reach out to them tomorrow. I'm hoping I can get an answer tomorrow. I would hope, again, even if it is up to a year, you've got an existing asphalt pad or base sitting
Been there
there.
a long time.
And these ABS pads, these rubber pads they use would disperse the load, so it's not as if it's
It's gonna move them, yeah.
Exactly.
Spread the weight.
I'd hate to cut that asphalt up and then have to come back and resurface it.
Yeah.
So I will reach out to them, try to get an answer really before the end of the week.
Great, thank you. Any other questions or discussion on that?
If anybody wants, I have a brochure here, I can get more in case you want to see the modulars. I don't recall if I passed this up previously.
So it's the same, something used for,
I'm not sure who you
county.
can.
Very similar, but I don't know if it's the same company, but the modular units are very similar.
How many units did you all have over there?
Over 20?
Wow.
It was a
City.
Yeah.
It was a city.
Yeah.
It was a modular city.
Yeah, there was quite a few.
It literally was.
And then we had restroom modulars as
Yeah,
well.
that's a lot.
That's all you gotta do is set power.
Well,
Everything's
actually,
wired.
we may not have to set the pole, we just bring in service and set it, because basically it's a pole.
Okay.
And it's counted on this, they look at that thing.
It's all day.
Help us out a little bit.
Kind of built it. I
I
really
was
think.
just shocked we didn't have service, our hope was.
We're not doing it.
Yeah, pull it.
I looked at that, I said, oh, no, it's full.
Of course it was.
And the restrooms again in the gym, so we're going to use those.
Yeah. It was nice.
Any other questions or discussion? Thank you. Discussion of superintendent search process. And my screen just went. we need to have a discussion about how we want this process to go, and I will give you my thoughts and then open it up to you all. We have 2 new board members coming on in January. And I think it's probably not in our best interest to go ahead and start the search now. We probably ought to think about appointing an interim superintendent and begin the search in January when the new board comes on so that they have a say in the process. Your thoughts?
I think that's fair to everybody concerned, to have an interim superintendent and wait till the elections are over with, let the dust
Start the
settle,
search in
and then start
January.
the search. Because I don't think it'd be fair to who's leaving here, because we're in the middle of it.
Right.
Then we don't have that input anymore, and then you got
And it's a lot of
new
work.
people starting. Yeah, I haven't been involved in it, but from what I've read and understand, it's a lot of work. So,
There are a lot of interviews to take place and a lot of things like that. And truthfully, if we, I don't know if we can much get a search in place before the election. And then once the election results are known, you know, it's still before the first of the year before we probably get it.
election's not that far away, what, a
Well,
month
it's
and a
not
half?
November.
November 5th, about a month and a half, I'm gonna give or take, so I don't know that I don't think it hinders us by waiting for the new.
Any thoughts on when you think we ought to be able to have a new superintendent? Make an appointment? End of March?
I don't really know how long it takes to get all that feedback in.
Do you remember the timeline?
Yeah, I mean, I think March is probably March or April is the deadline
Good, okay.
that you want to have, because you got to understand that there are folks with careers and that kind of thing, and because the way the school years and the fiscal years are.
You don't want to wait too late when it comes out.
Wait.
People need to make decisions.
Yeah, people need to make decisions, and if there's an option to go, if they don't, for example, if they were coming second and coming third, there's a possibility that they would want to, try for another
Position.
Same way with us, we may be juggling 3 or 4 finalists, and 2 of them pick up Augusta County and somewhere else and choose that over us.
That makes sense.
I remember previously, the search group that we hired narrowed it down to just a handful of people that we actually interviewed. So we're not going to be interviewing
Right.
everybody that applies.
Yeah, they sort of served, I mean, they interviewed us, and what do you?
What the expectations are.
They sort of did a filtering process, and because I think that's what we asked. We asked to bring us 4, or bring us 3, not bring us 10, not bring us.
Your response?
It was a good process. It was tight. We got to run through and see the inside candidates, outside candidates, but the narrowing it down by educators for the life helped a lot, because we were really serious about the interviewing by the time we got the 3 or 4.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I think whether we use the same organization, which were former superintendents that had formed a company, or it's the Virginia School Board Association, they would do a very similar process. They want to know what we want. We also want to know what the community wants. And
Well, I think they interviewed some of
didn't
the
they interview?
community.
They did.
Well,
They did.
Yeah, they had some list of community, school, central office, that kind of.
Alright. Yeah.
Now, their experiences help to move along quickly, so you can get rid of all the frivolousness, focus right in.
Yeah, makes sense.
Well, and the financial piece of it too. I mean, it costs to bring candidates, particularly if they're coming from very far away, that kind of.
Cost to hire the search firm.
Yep.
Cost and all of it. Okay, so we'll have some closed meeting discussions on the we'll do that first of the year too.
Yeah. To move forward with the search.
Right.
Agreed.
Okay, so we need to go into closed session now.
This motion is made, this open public meeting of the Warren County School Board to become a closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-371. The school board desires to discuss the following matters in closed meeting. Sections 2.2-371A, discussion, consideration, or interview of prospective candidates for employment, assignment, appointment, promotion, performance, demotion, salaries, discipline, or resignation of employees at the school board.
You get it? Over there. Sorry, I don't have a fancy screen, it's a touch screen, I'm sorry. We hit it all off.
No, I'm sorry, specifically to employee personnel.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Valentine, please call roll.
Madam Chair,
Aye.
Mrs. McEachran, Mr. Rosen,
Aye.
Mr. Wells, Mr. Williams.
Aye.
Motion carries. We are in closed session.
Yeah. I'm gonna-